This is Daily Blast Live. We're talking about what you're talking about.
You all ready for this?
This is a sham.
No. Y'all, just stop.
Get real.
Welcome to DBL. Good morning. Look at us in salmon with a deep blue sea.
I really appreciate your dress and Al's blazer. This is like a vibe right here.
Huh?
You guys look like you should go to like a polo classic in the wintertime.
Yeah.
Is that what they say?
I'll ditch Tori early.
Yeah. All right, that's not very nice. All right, we are going to start today with the complete fiasco going on with Ticketmaster and fans trying to get tickets to Taylor Swift's concert because, I don't know if you've heard, Taylor has broken her silence. She's posted a message to Instagram saying, quote, "We asked Ticketmaster multiple times if they could handle this kind of demand, and we were assured they could. It's truly amazing that 2.4 million people got tickets, but it really pisses me off that a lot of them felt like they went through several bear attacks to get them."
All right.
People did go through trauma.
Tori was one of them.
That was. This comes after Ticketmaster announced yesterday that due to insufficient remaining inventory, meaning they sold too much, they would be canceling.
That's a nice way to put that.
Yeah,
yes.
like let's be real. What does that mean? They oversold. They would be canceling the general public ticket sale. So what do you think of what Taylor said and Ticketmaster stopping sales? This has become a fiasco.
Well, Taylor can't control Ticketmaster. I mean, that's not her actual company. She can't also sell tickets on her website. I'm sure that would crash faster than a company that you think has millions of dollars or billions maybe and tons of employees. The confusing part to me is that the tech sector has really taken over the world. And so the fact that they can't figure out how to stop bots from buying tickets and selling them for triple, quadruple, or $20,000 is crazy to me at this time when tech has really taken over everything.
So you're disappointed in that tech industry part of it.
Yeah, well,
that Ticketmaster couldn't hire the best bot blocker and give him a job in the whole team of 20 or 20,000, however many it takes, because this is happening all the time. I mean, it's happened with Adele's show, happened with everyone's show.
So should we look into what AOC is saying? Remember, she said Ticketmaster and Live Nation being colluding together. There needs to be a congressional investigation into, I know that sounds crazy, but I don't want to just shake this off.
There you go. It's weird Lindsay said best bot blocker. I'm a little disappointed you don't know that I'm considered America's best bot blocker.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
So he had a second job.
I keep that on the low. If you read my bio, you would know. But no, I mean, it's what you said is super interesting, Lindsay, and it made me think maybe Ticketmaster doesn't want to block those bots. I mean, there might be a secondary market. There's always a kickback. So, I mean, you're telling me Ticketmaster doesn't know that as soon as they release these tickets, they're going to be bought up by these companies that are going to resell them at a price that might be even 10, 15, 20.
You think they knew and did it anyway?
Of course they knew. What are they, like, just the suburban housewife drinking wine? They know what's going on with their company. They know exactly what's happening. And they, just like they do with airports and airplanes, they oversell the flight
should they be
and hope
blamed
people
then?
don't show up. Yeah, absolutely.
And okay.
Yeah, you can blame them, you can fine them, but it doesn't matter unless there's some competition here. Unless McDonald's has a Burger King, Coke has a Pepsi, what are you going to do? You still got to, you're going to eat it. So unless there's competition, we're going to see this over and over again. And this is why people are always for fighting monopolies, because when you have a monopoly, you can do whatever you want.
That's true. Do you guys think that Taylor Swift 1 through 10, how was her sort of speaking to us? How did you feel 1 through 10?
I felt inspired.
You felt inspired?
Yeah.
The use of words was amazing.
So I don't even want to, I'm going to mess with Taylor Swift fans. But honestly, I just kept looking at this, Lindsay, and as a black man, 45 years old, I had no idea how big Taylor Swift was. Were you surprised? I know she was beyond famous, but this is kind of 2 ticks up from that, because Beyonce fans will show up and show out, and they're obviously sold out.
We know that's happening.
But this is like the resales of some of these tickets are $20,000 for a ticket, a single
ticket.
Right.
Yeah.
I'm still thinking about me being a suburban housewife drinking wine. I feel like that touched me.
I agree.
But yeah, I didn't know. Obviously, I was drinking too much wine because I didn't realize that Taylor Swift was this big. I mean, I knew she was huge, but like, this is huge.
Maybe Ticketmaster didn't either. Maybe that's why this lack of response. They probably got a call at midnight like, hey, we got a problem here.
That's funny.
Tori's disappointed. She's like, you didn't realize?
Yeah, like they asked multiple times. Also, her latest album is called Midnights, which was very adorable. I will say this. I really liked her statement because Taylor's someone that she says the very first thing is, well, it goes without saying I'm extremely extremely protective of my fans. We do, and I know I got made fun of yesterday for this, we do feel that Taylor talks to us. She is very, I know that sounds weird,
That's
Al.
the same thing you would say about a teddy bear at night.
I'm just saying.
Black Mirror.
Yeah,
She is a,
exactly.
okay.
It talks when you leave, Lindsay. You just don't know.
Okay. She is a celebrity that feels very close to her fans. The Easter eggs, the little comments. She doesn't seem above it all, a bit like Mariah Carey would, which I don't blame Mariah Carey.
Are you taking shots
just two
at
different
the Queen
things.
of Christmas?
In the Christmas season?
Yes.
Oh, God, okay. I love you, Mariah. Speaking of, I love this segue, you guys. Speaking of dumpster fires, have you all heard about what's going on at Twitter?
No, what's going on?
Elon Musk sent employees at his company an ultimatum. They had until 5 p.m. yesterday to sign a pledge to work harder or leave. Hundreds of employees refused to sign, and now Elon has closed down the offices out of fear, of sabotage. This was the scene at the Twitter headquarters last night in San Francisco, where someone projected messages trolling Elon, calling him a supreme parasite, a petulant pimple, and an apartheid profiteer, among other names. Space Karen was also trending on the site.
Oh my gosh. That hairstyle.
Oh my gosh, with memes.
Wow.
Like this, showing Musk in a Karen hairdo. Sorry, Karen, we love you. She works here. We love Karen. With so many employees leaving, there are reports that actual critical systems have been left with no one manning them. It's just like servers working.
That's crazy.
Okay? It's empty. And some are saying it's just a matter of time until the entire social platform goes dark. So what do you think Elon has done? What do you think he will do? And I want to ask you, what does the world look like without Twitter? Because I will give Twitter is a dumpster fire, but I want to bring up like the Iran Revolution happening right now with Masa Amini, the Arab Spring. We wouldn't have known about those things if not for Twitter. So they have
the Ukraine war.
The Ukraine war,
especially early on.
It can be a dumpster fire. It can save a whole country and a whole people. What do you guys think?
I was reading an article that in 2019, they surveyed that 80% of the users don't use Twitter as much as like 10%. So as much as it's impactful and we can find voices that are otherwise hard to locate or, think about or hear from, I don't think that it's as important if it goes away. There are other social media platforms, and hopefully there's a space to create a new platform.
Like Mastodon, which looks like a train wreck.
Well, that's crazy, but there's also already other spaces that have popped up even during the pandemic that are new social media apps. And I always caution to think that Elon Musk is like ridiculous and doesn't know what he's doing. I mean, this is a billion-dollar man who has SpaceX and Tesla both very successfully. So is it going to go dark? I don't think the website's going to shut down, but do you want to be on it when, like recently, Eli Lilly, the pharmaceutical company, had a fake account say that they're giving out free insulin, and then their stock dropped, and then they removed all the advertising dollars from Twitter. Like, if his main goal is to protect Twitter from bankruptcy so it doesn't go dark, he's not doing a good job at it right now because he's losing advertising dollars with pulling some of the stunts he's pulling. So maybe there's some kind of other lining. I don't want to even call it silver, but some other lining at the end of the road. But right now, nobody's seeing it. But maybe a complete overhaul and just like revamping is what's about to happen, because I can't imagine the site just goes black.
My issue is I don't know if we need a complete overhaul. I look at Twitter, and it's just the face of the people, and just be like, hey, we were using that. Before
totally.
you just.
I agree.
And this is my argument about why there shouldn't be billionaires, because they can just take something that was a use to all of us and just let me mess with this and then just toss it away. As people have built up their career on Twitter, have the 20,000, 30,000. I have more than 30,000 followers, but certain people have hundreds of thousands of followers. This is how you get your information. This is how you follow your favorite team. This is how,
I think it's vital.
You know what hit me yesterday, Tori? I was my phone popped up and I got a Twitter alert, and it was like the DOJ did something, and I used to read those just in case we would talk about the next day, and now I don't, because I don't know if it's a verified account.
Right.
It might be the DOJ, and then you look under and it's at Squiggy 19.
It's diluted, completely
so
diluted.
like it's taken away like your ability to get quick news. So and so stepped down, the Supreme Court strikes down this. Now I can't believe any of this. And Twitter was a place, yes, it was a town square, and yes, it was a dumpster fire, but there were places where you could go to talk hoops, to talk fashion, to talk social justice, mental health, and now it's gone. And for what?
Right. And I just want you guys to know, accident reports at Tesla's Fremont, California factory showed incident rates equal to those at slaughterhouses and sawmills. So I don't know how much he knows what's going on at his companies. Let me know what you think. Coming up on DBL, our interview with Wonder Years actress Danica McKellar. She's telling us all about her new Christmas movie, Winnie Cooper, huh? Plus, Ellen Pompeo is leaving Grey's Anatomy. Can the show survive without her character? No.
There's going to be a lot of internet chatter. That's where the red flag goes up.
We are never going to agree on this. It's ignorant, and for me, it was just like a damn shame.
Tell me I need to do something, I'm going to do the exact opposite.
You know why I don't call in sick? Camera hog. What are we talking? 3:15. Doesn't he look good in salmon?
He does.
Sorry, what were we talking about?
Not could be confused with mauve.
Thank you. Mauve is a little more purple.
I don't think that is salmon.
It isn't. It isn't purple.
So what is it? That's pink.
Salmon's got a
More orange.
more orange.
You're
going
actually
on.
more pink.
That's just pink.
It might just be pink. Okay. It's Cape Cod pink.
What do you think,
Ebony, did you do this today? Hi, Ty.
Salmon's got more orange in
I
it.
think salmon's more orange.
Definitely.
I like this.
Thank you.
Yes, I'm digging
By the way, do you guys think Jack Dorsey, who used to own Twitter, who lives now in some kind of hut or yurt in Iceland somewhere, he likes to go, off the grid, will come back and say, yo, help.
It's
No, everyone's saying no.
It's
Okay.
impossible because now it's like the credibility is gone. You know,
But can he get it back? No.
how would he do that?
By ending the $8 verification.
So he's going to buy back this now failing business that
Yeah.
he clearly was in.
At a lower price.
I don't
You don't think
so.
it'll happen?
I think Twitter is going to go into bankruptcy because they're going to start to get fined because they don't have the oversight that they need to. Because I think people are always talking about let's free speech, deregulate. But what happens with that is people start posting pictures of mutilated bodies
Right,
and
exactly.
horrible things that there's people that are
Twitter
going to
gets
catch.
fined, we're not talking about, I understand if you're talking about somebody who's a billionaire with $1 billion. We're talking about Elon Musk, a fine? What's it going to be?
Did you see Ed
Yeah,
Markey?
but
he can't afford
Ed
it?
Markey's
Is
a
he
congressman,
liquid?
and he said,
Is
you
he
take care of
liquid?
your
On paper,
companies
he's
or
got
Congress
money.
will.
Right.
Did you see that, Ed Markey? He goes, you take care of your companies, Elon Musk, or Congress will, because it's under investigation for deaths. The TSA, National Highway Transformation,
How would you
whatever,
even know that?
they are investigating Tesla for deaths.
Oh, you know what?
Welcome back. All right. Meredith Grey is preparing to say goodbye to Grey Sloan Memorial Hospital for good. After 19 seasons, I can't believe that, Ellen Pompeo is leaving the show full time. She posted a message on Instagram writing that none of the show's success would have been possible without the best fans in the world. Ellen teased that Dr. Grey would definitely be back to visit. Well, no one wants that. Ellen started on the show alongside Patrick Dempsey, of course, played McDreamy back in 2005. His character was killed off in season 11. So this got us thinking about other TV shows that have lost their main characters. Roseanne Barr, famously fired, right, from the reboot of her show in 2018 after posting a racist tweet. It was revamped as The Connors.
She was on Ambien.
That was her excuse. Mark Harmon, oh, what a cutie, left NCIS last fall after 19 seasons. It's still on the air. 2.5 Men survived 4 seasons after one of the men, Charlie Sheen, was fired, and The Office went on for 2 more seasons after Steve Carell's departure. That's a really strong ensemble cast for me, The Office, and I'm sorry, but okay, does anyone here still watch Grey's Anatomy?
No.
Clap.
No.
Wow. I thought it was going to be at least half.
No, I think people just show divorced it. It just went on and on, and
But
I was so
clearly, it
involved.
still gets ratings.
I guess, but I don't think it can survive without her, without she.
I mean, I was just after you do something for 19 years,
Right.
I'm how do you even walk away? It just seems so hard to be I guess that's why she's going to come back as a guest. But I'm man, you're it's the show might as well end with you rather
agree
than
with you.
just walking away as
I
somebody
agree.
who people directly, relate to that show.
I agree,
It
and
just kind of is just. I don't know. It feels a little bit. I never was a Grey's Anatomy watcher though, so I don't know. I got to talk to somebody who's like a diehard fan to see how they feel.
Yeah, I mean, my ex-wife used to watch Grey's all the time, like rewatched them over and over and again. And it's like I was looking at the different shows and which ones the shows that survive. I think after the star leaves, they're kind of like script shows, like we saw Mark Harmon with NCIS. Like, that's just a show. People are gonna watch
it doesn't matter who's in that
Me
thing.
and Lindsay could be there with a buddy cop team, and they'd be like, all right, it's on. But when you start talking about a personality-driven show, and that's why I feel like The Conners was such an outlier, it's like when you remove the straw that serves the drink, and it still works, I think that's when you, but obviously, you know, you had our husband there. What's his name?
John Goodman.
John Goodman, yeah.
Dan.
Yes, yeah. So he kind of held it down, but it's almost like when Michael Jordan left the Bulls. Like, they played okay for a little while, but after a while you need that star there in place, and after that it just doesn't seem to work.
Or when LeBron left the Cavs.
I don't want to talk about that.
Okay, I just thought that was a more timely reference.
Okay, yeah, no, I see. I don't even know what you're talking about.
Wow. So that didn't. Was he on Ambien? Is that what happened?
He was on Ambien too, but he came back Cavs 2016.
Okay, come on up. On DBL, our interview with Danica McKellar, a.k.a. Winnie Cooper, for the Wonder Years. We go back in time with her to talk about what it was like being on that hit show.
Thanksgiving leftovers. They may taste super yummy to you, but be careful before serving that food to your furry family members. We checked with these sources, and they say many of the foods on the Thanksgiving table, well, they aren't safe for pets to eat. First up, the main event. While turkey is often used in commercial dog food and can be healthy for dogs when cooked plain, Thanksgiving turkeys are packed with flavor, or at least they should be. And the fats, oils, spices, and seasonings used to flavor it, as well as the skin, well, they can be dangerous to pets. That's because too much fat puts pets at risk of pancreatitis, which, according to the Pet Poison Helpline, is an inflammation of the pancreas that can result in vomiting, diarrhea, loss of appetite, and abdominal pain for your pet. So, it's a no for turkey. Next up, the holiday ham. According to the American Kennel Club, ham contains a higher fat content than most other types of meat. It's often high in salt and sugar, according to Purina. Both of those are reasons why ham is bad for pets. So how about stuffing or dressing? Onions, garlic, and chives, well, they're all common ingredients in stuffing, and they're poisonous to both dogs and cats, according to the Pet Poison Helpline. So it's a no for all of these items too. But there are some plain foods often used in Thanksgiving dishes that are safe for pets. Apples, green beans, sweet potatoes, zucchini, winter squash, carrots, and popcorn are all on the Pet Poison Helpline's list of pet-safe foods. It's important to stress, though, that these foods must be free of oil, butter, fats, sugar, spices, seasonings, and salt. According to the American Veterinary Medical Association, the safest way to treat your pet during the holiday season, well, it's to share some treats or a holiday-themed toy. With your Verify, I'm Ariane Daytil.
What I'd really like to talk to you about is Christmas.
Christmas.
Yeah, Christmas. It's all about friends and neighbors coming together in a shared experience and creating memories that last a lifetime. The McCarthy Drive-In is like Christmas.
Welcome back to DBL. That was Danica McKellar in Christmas at the Drive-In. We caught up with her earlier to talk about her new Christmas movie, and we did just have to go back in time with her to the Wonder Years and talk about one Winnie Cooper. Take a look.
Danica, you look exactly the same as I remember you from the Wonder Years.
I know.
I was a young boy. Do you get like people? Listen, I'm not trying to be weird here, but do a lot of like young boys have crushes on you from the past?
And girls.
Yeah. Oh, well, yeah, it's something I've heard for a long time, and I'm very grateful. It's so sweet. I love it. Never gets old.
See, I knew she wouldn't be weird.
There we go.
All right. All right, so you starred in a bunch of different Christmas movies on a bunch of different networks. What makes Christmas on The Great American Family so special for you?
Oh, it's so much fun to be at this new network. I have so much more like involvement. I get to help cast it. I get to help like the edit, and Christmas at the Drive-In is such a sweet, fun movie. I get to work with one of my favorite co-stars, Neil Bledsoe. He and I were in The Winter Palace earlier this year, also on Great American Family, and we did a Christmas movie for Hallmark a few years before that. So we have a lot of experience working together, and there's just something really magical and special about this. Speaking of like the wonder years and nostalgia, the whole movie, Christmas at the Drive-In, takes place at a 1950s historic drive-in.
Oh, wow.
So it's got all that feeling of like nostalgia and all that old-fashioned stuff. It's so cute. It's so good.
All right, well, I have to ask you because I feel like drive-ins are super underrated. I really do. I love drive-ins. Like, what makes this, what's your favorite part of the movie, and what do you think is really going to latch onto the viewer?
Well, besides just the environment of this awesome drive-in, it's a story about my character. I want to save the drive-in. So the drive-in is in danger of being torn down by a developer to get, it's going to be knocked down, and a distribution center is going to be put in its place.
Oh.
Well, the developer wants to do that. Happens to be my co-star, who happens to be my high school sweetheart from 20 years ago. We haven't seen each other since then. Oh. So the speech you saw me giving was my impassioned speech to the Historic Commission, saying, "Look, we have to save this." And so they say, "Look, sure, you have till Christmas to prove that this historic drive-in is more important to the town than the distribution center would be. And if you can prove it by then, we will not approve it to be torn down." And so they say to Holden, you have to prove that if she has to prove that it is worth it, you have to prove it isn't. So give a good faith effort to make this business work between now and Christmas. And of course, it's cold and snowy, so making a drive-in work in the wintertime is very challenging. We have to do it together. There's tons of just like spicy banter. That's one thing about Neil and I work together so much, that we have such a rapport and so much fun chemistry that you guys are gonna love it. One of my favorite parts about a good Christmas rom-com is that spicy banter between the two characters.
Yes, that's what makes it work. I can't wait. I'm so excited.
You sold that.
I know. They all know that. Come on now. Christmas movies are my jam.
Yes,
Well, Danica, you
start
can
your own Christmas movie right now.
There you go.
We actually could.
She's involved in casting. If you ever need
I know, I heard that. I was like, okay.
talk show in a Christmas movie, you know who to cast.
I have a little background in Christmas movies. I'll talk later.
It's writing itself already. Oh my gosh.
Danica, we love you. DBL Nation Christmas at the Drive-In premieres November 25th on Great American Family. Also, make sure to follow Danica on Twitter. She'll be tweeting live during the premiere.
Cute.
How fun is that?
Yeah.
We'll be
Yes,
right
and
back.
it's 8 o'clock. It airs at 8 o'clock Eastern and 5 o'clock Pacific. It airs at the same time across the country, so it's easy to live tweet all at the same time.
Perfect.
Got her producer
Yeah.
hat on.
Yes,
too.
yes.
Thank you, Danica.
All right, see you.
Thanks, guys.
The Mentos and Diet Coke experiment. Take one roll of Mentos, a 2-liter bottle of Diet Coke, and Mentos eruption videos have racked up millions of views and comments online. We recently got an email from James who asked us to verify if the Mentos trick works with sodas other than Diet Coke. So we decided to test this out for ourselves. But before we get all messy, we also went to these sources to help us find our answer. One roll of Mentos for each one, and let them rip. Oh my God, am I getting a shower? Ah! Oh my God! Shower? Ah! Oh my God! Oh my God! Clearly, I'm not a trained scientist, and we didn't have a perfect controlled experiment, but you get the picture. Put in Mentos, and the soda goes boom. Our sources confirmed that this reaction will happen with any carbonated drink. So we can verify, yes, the Mentos trick will work with other sodas, not just Diet Coke. Let's really dig into the science to show you why. In order to make soda bubbly, carbon dioxide is added to a liquid under high pressure. When the bottle is sealed, the liquid inside of the bottle is at equilibrium, meaning the carbon dioxide molecules are evenly dissolved throughout the liquid. But once you open the top, the pressure changes, and the liquid inside can hold less CO2. That means the extra CO2 has to go somewhere. If you leave the cap off, the CO2 will continue to escape until the liquid reaches a new equilibrium. That is when soda is flat. To help the CO2 escape faster, you can add a nucleating agent, in this case, a mint Mentos. What makes Mentos an effective nucleating agent is its chemical composition and its unique texture. The surface of the candy, which looks smooth, is actually really rough, and all of those nooks and crannies make it easier for CO2 to find a way out of the liquid. So why do diet sodas seem to have a bigger reaction? Oh my God! According to Reagent, a UK-based chemical manufacturing company, it comes down to the viscosity of the liquid and the presence of other chemicals in the mixture. Drop a marble into 2 types of soda at the same time, and it will take longer for the marble to hit the bottom in a drink that has a higher viscosity. So what does that mean for our experiment? Regular sodas contain sugar, while most diet sodas contain aspartame, a 0-calorie chemical that makes the drink less viscous. That means the Mentos move faster, interacting with more CO2, and that means more bubbles. It's not just viscosity, though. Other chemicals in soda or candy, like caffeine and gelatin, impact how fast CO2 can escape. You may be able to find other candies that can make soda explode, but for now, it seems like Mint Mentos make the biggest mess.
This November, escape the cold with a luxury included vacation to Sandals Resort's newest location, Sandals Royal Curacao, where amazing comes together. Watch DBL every day for a word of the day. Then enter at dailyblastlive.com/sandals for your chance to win a 4-day, 3-night escape for 2 to beautiful Curacao. The winner will be announced on DBL November 23rd. Today's Sandals word of the day is ocean.
Ocean.
Yeah.
Ooh. Welcome back to DBL. So today is your last chance to enter the word of the day that you just saw that you need for your chance to win a luxury trip to beautiful Curacao.
I already won.
Better than the lotto.
Yeah.
Better than who wants $2 billion? Go to dailyblastlive.com/sandals. A winner will be announced Wednesday, November 23rd. So I want to talk a little bit about stress because it can affect us many different ways, including physically. And it's time for some joint and muscle support brought to you by Omega XL. First, stress can affect your muscles and joints, and it can lead to flare-ups of symptoms related to arthritis and other conditions. Next, your heart and lungs are impacted by stress because it increases your heart rate. Stress can also throw off your skin's pH balance and lead to hair loss. Omega XL has improved the lives of millions of consumers, supported by 30 years of clinical research. Omega XL's powerful and proven benefits have transformed the lives of athletes, celebrities, and dedicated daily users. Call 1-800-686-5325 or visit omegaxl.com for more information. So I have a quick question for you guys. Name another artist, dead or alive, that could have caused Ticketmaster to crash like this.
Elvis.
Huh.
I think Elvis, because
That's good.
I guess he never toured overseas.
Never left the United
right,
States.
so I think Elvis, like going overseas somewhere, would have done it.
Wow.
I think Elvis could have done it.
Well, I know both Beyonce and Rihanna are announcing tours this year, so we'll see. We'll see. Yeah, they're both announcing tours this year.
Would you wait online for any artist like I did for Taylor Swift, either of you?
No.
Both the 2 I just named.
Excellent.
And Jay-Z, that's
Jay-Z.
3.
And you wouldn't?
No.
Come on now.
No.
Oh, Al, come on now.
And I saw
I'm
Jay-Z.
better than. I don't go to any concert. No, don't do that.
You love music.
I love concerts. It's just like, Lindsay, I can't be on the phone. I got 3 kids.
On the phone? It's a computer.
No.
You don't have to actually touch it.
Principle. I can't.
The dignity you need to carry around your life.
What if it was your favorite? Like James Brown.
James Brown, what year?
James Brown is my favorite, first of all.
Yeah,
Shout out to my dad. He's my dad's favorite, too.
I actually really like James
I bet you
Brown.
was incredible in concert.
Oh, amazing. DBL is new every day. We'll see you
James
Monday.
Brown.
Be good to each other and yourselves.